Valeria Falcone, you are head of Value Add Investing Europe at Barings Real Estate. Thank you for joining us on BiTV.
Thank you. Thanks to you. And good morning, everybody.
Barings recently closed its second value add real estate fund at a hard cap of 850 million euros after receiving a billion euros of client demand. And this is also 100 million euros more than the initial target. How do you explain such an interest from investors for this value add strategy?
As much as value add fundraising was very tough in 2020, given the uncertainty caused by the pandemic, in 2021, as vaccination rolled out and European economies bounced back, it was pretty clear that there was a way out, and therefore investors took more confidence and started to redeploy capital in value add strategies. Um, Also because value add strategy could actually benefit from some of the trends that have been accelerated by the pandemic. But of course, now more than ever, track records matters, as well as strategies that the manager are putting in place. And this is why Barings has probably been a beneficiary from this, because we can prove a very strong track record that we have achieved in Fund One, and also we have a strategy that can take advantage of the trends that I just mentioned. I think that was the reason for a successful fundraising for Barings.
You mentioned your strategy. Obviously, I want to know more. What will be your investment strategy for this newly raised capital?
Well, strategy for Briva 2 focus on investing in major Western European cities that show strong structural drivers such as demographic, urbanization, as well as innovation and attractiveness for people. We like to invest in cities that shows great imbalance between demand and supply, of course, being value add, and we invest in logistic alternatives and offices. We have a top-down, bottom-up approach, as we call it, which means that we work very closely with our research team, and then we also work very closely with our team on the ground. We have 9 offices in around 7 countries, and I think that this has been proven to be very important, especially during the pandemic. We focus very much on product innovation and sustainability, and a number of our assets, also in Fund One, are already targeting whole life net zero carbon, which means that we are extremely committed to lower carbon emission also during construction and refurbishment, which is, I think, a very important point, because this part of the emission of carbon is the biggest part on the whole life of a building. And I think that this, again, it's a strategy that has met the favor of our investors.
Okay. You mentioned earlier your pan-European approach, as well as the evolution of the market during the course of the pandemic. How has Europe's value-add market environment evolved following the COVID-19 pandemic, as investors' attitude towards risk has been maybe, let's say, challenged? Are some sectors, maybe geographies, more interesting than before?
Yeah, well, of course, as I have anticipated before, pandemic has accelerated pre-existing trends,
Mm.
such as e-commerce growth, or simply it has created more awareness about sustainability in all asset classes. But this has also made clear the importance of value creation proposition for investor, which I think they recognize in Barings, for example. And this will go aside from the rental growth and cap rate compression that today are maybe less obvious. And therefore, investors are more careful on how they deploy their capital and who deploys their capital in which way. And once again, today the pandemic has given us a clear window on innovating product, as I say before. And this, I think, is the key for value. At least is our focus. In terms of sectors and geographies, real estate works in cycles. So, sometimes you have certain sectors that are working better than other. I think at this point in time, once again, one thing is very clear, that the demand in all sectors, from logistic to alternatives, is clearly targeting certain type of product, and this will make the difference in all asset classes. While in terms of geography, of course, a certain area have proven to be more liquid than other, and of course liquidity is something that investor will look more and more going forward. That is why it's important that the strategy in value add, do not go out too much, and is very strict on locations and on liquidity, I would say.
Okay. Thank you very much, Valeria Falcone, for your time, for your insight. It's always a pleasure to have you with us on BiTV.
Thank you to you, and thanks for inviting me.
And thank you all for joining us. See you soon on BiTV.